The Anderson family reunion was always a showcase of competitive success, held at my uncle's sprawling estate in the Hamptons. This year was no different. Luxury cars lined the circular driveway like a high-end dealership, and designer labels flickered in the summer sun like warning signs. I parked my modest Toyota Camry between my cousin Blake's Ferrari and my sister Jessica's Mercedes. The contrast wasn't lost on me, but then again that was the point. Let them see exactly what they expected to see. Emily. My mother's voice carried across the manicured lawn, a mixture of obligation and disappointment. You made it. And you're wearing that. I smoothed down my simple blue dress, a piece that looked Target clearance but was actually hand-tailored Italian silk. Hello, Mom. The backyard was a sea of calculated success. Doctors, lawyers, investment bankers. The Andersons had produced a generation of respectable professionals. And then there was me, the black sheep who'd walked away from medical school to open what they called my little experiment in retail. Still playing shopkeeper? Blake smirked, swirling his champagne. He was an investment banker now, or at least that's what his Instagram bio claimed. Must be nice, such a simple life. Jessica, now a corporate lawyer, joined him. God, Em, at least tell me you've hired someone to watch the store while you're here. Wouldn't want to miss out on those crucial scented candle sales. They laughed, that practiced sound of people who thought they were better than they were. If they'd bothered to actually visit my store, they would have noticed it wasn't just any boutique. Sage and Stone had started as a small shop 5 years ago, yes. But now it was the testing ground for what had become Intuitive Retail Solutions, IRS. My real company. The small shop was where I pioneered the automated retail technology that was about to revolutionize the entire industry. Every customer interaction, every purchase pattern, every subtle consumer behavior was analyzed by my proprietary AI system. The results? A predictive retail model that major corporations were desperately trying to replicate. But my family didn't know that. They didn't know about the patents, the silent acquisitions, or the deals I'd been negotiating for the past year. They definitely didn't know about tomorrow's announcement, the one that would turn their carefully constructed hierarchy upside down. Emily, my Uncle Robert boomed, surprised you could afford the trip up. Times must be good in the scented candle business. I took a sip of water, letting his condescension wash over me. Uncle Robert, the family patriarch since my father passed, had been particularly vocal about my waste of potential. He'd called my decision to leave medical school a temporary insanity that would sort itself out when reality hits. Reality was about to hit, all right, just not the way he expected. Business is steady, I said quietly. How's the hospital administration treating you? He puffed up immediately. Just got appointed to the board of directors at Metropolitan. We're implementing a new retail pharmacy system across all locations. Something you wouldn't understand, of course. Real business, big numbers. I bit back a smile. Metropolitan was one of the hospital groups bidding for my technology. They just didn't know it was mine. Like every other major retailer and healthcare provider, they'd been negotiating with IRS through layers of corporate anonymity. Speaking of business, Blake chimed in. Did anyone see the rumors about tomorrow's big tech announcement? Some companies supposedly revolutionizing retail automation. Dad's firm is trying to get in on the IPO. Now that got my attention. Blake's father, Uncle Peter, ran one of the largest investment firms in the city. They'd been aggressively pursuing information about IRS for months, trying to identify the founders before the company went public. Heard it's worth billions, Jessica added. Unlike some people's little shops. The TV inside was playing CNBC, muted but visible through the patio doors. Tomorrow that same channel would announce the largest retail technology acquisition in history. My company IRS wasn't going public. We were buying out our biggest competitor, effectively controlling 70% of the automated retail market. How much did your shop make last year, Emily? Uncle Robert asked, not bothering to hide his disdain. Enough to cover rent at least? I thought about the acquisition papers in my hotel safe, the ones with tomorrow's date and a lot of zeros. It covers the essentials. You know, my mother started, that familiar tone of intervention creeping in. Dr. Matthews at Metropolitan is always looking for research assistants. It's not too late to get back on track. Thanks, Mom, but I'm happy where I am. Happy? Blake scoffed. Running a glorified gift shop? Come on, Emily. Even you can't be that delusional. I checked my phone discreetly. An email from my CO account waited. Final contracts signed. Press embargo lifts at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes, I said carefully, success doesn't look the way people expect it to. Oh please, Jessica rolled her eyes. Spare us the small business owner philosophy. Some of us have real careers to discuss. The afternoon wore on, a parade of thinly veiled insults and competitive accomplishments. I sat quietly, letting them assume my silence was shame rather than restraint. Let them have their moment. Tomorrow would be interesting enough. As the sun began to set, Uncle Robert gathered everyone for the traditional family photo. Emily, he called, you can stand in the back. Behind Blake and Jessica. They're wearing the proper attire. I took my place, this supposed failure in a sea of success. My phone buzzed again. Another email from my corporate account. NYSE opening bell ceremony confirmed for Monday. Car will pick you up at 8 a.m. Smile, the photographer called. I did smile, but not for the camera. I smiled because in less than 12 hours, every assumption they'd made about me would shatter like the champagne glasses they'd drop when the news hit. The black sheep was about to become the wolf in sheep's clothing. And family reunions would never be the same. I woke up in my suite at the Four Seasons. Not that my family knew I wasn't staying at the Holiday Inn they'd recommended, given my budget. The morning sun was just breaking over Manhattan, and my phone was already buzzing with secure messages from my executive team. Market opens in 3 hours. Press release finalized. CNBC interview confirmed for 10 a.m. I ordered breakfast to my room, French pressed coffee and avocado toast that cost more than what my family thought I made in a day. The TV was already tuned to CNBC, where financial analysts were speculating about today's major market announcement. Sources say this could be the biggest retail tech acquisition of the decade, one analyst reported. But the real story is the mysterious CEO behind IRS. No one seems to know who's really running the company. I smiled, taking a sip of coffee. They'd know soon enough. My phone rang, it was Jessica. Hey we're all having breakfast at Uncle Robert's. Mom says you should come. Blake's going to tell us about his new partnership position. I'll have to pass, I said, watching my company's confidential logo flash across the TV screen. I have a meeting. A meeting? She laughed. What, did someone order too many lavender candles? Something like that. Enjoy breakfast. I hung up just as my actual executive assistant called. Ms. Anderson, your car is ready. The legal team is waiting at the office. I changed into a Chanel suit I'd been saving for today. Classic black with subtle power shoulders. No more hidden luxury. No more playing small. The IRS headquarters occupied the top 10 floors of a gleaming tower in downtown Manhattan. As I walked through the lobby, employees nodded respectfully. Here I wasn't the family disappointment. I was the visionary who'd built a retail empire from a single little shop. Everyone's gathered in the main conference room, my CFO Michael reported as we rode the private elevator. Including representatives from tech retail. Tech retail, our biggest competitor, or rather our newest acquisition. Their CEO had fought the takeover for months until he realized we'd already secured majority shareholder support. The conference room was packed with executives, lawyers, and PR teams. On the wall, multiple screens showed various news channels, all waiting for the 9 a.m. announcement. Time check. I asked. 20 minutes to market open, Michael replied. Your family still doesn't know? I shook my head, thinking of them all gathered at Uncle Robert's, probably taking turns critiquing my life choices. They're about to. At exactly 8:55 a.m., my phone started exploding with texts. The first was from Blake. Turn on CNBC now. Someone's buying tech retail. Dad's firm is going crazy trying to figure out who's behind it. Then from Jessica, are you seeing this? Blake says it's a huge deal. And finally from Uncle Robert, watching business news. Shame you never understood real business, Emily. This is what success looks like. I turned to the screens just as CNBC's breaking news alert flashed. Breaking. Intuitive Retail Solutions IRS. To acquire tech retail in historic $2 billion deal. Market stunned by retail tech's biggest merger. The room erupted in controlled excitement. Years of work, of hiding, of building in silence, all leading to this moment. Then came the part I'd been waiting for. And in a surprising revelation, the anchor continued, IRSO Emily Anderson will be ringing the opening bell this morning. Anderson, known for founding the innovative Sage and Stone retail chain, has been secretly building what analysts are calling the most sophisticated retail technology company in the market. My phone went dead silent for exactly 30 seconds. Then it exploded. Jessica, what the actual hell? Blake, this has to be a mistake. A different Emily Anderson. Mom, Emily? Call me right now. Uncle Robert, is this some kind of joke? The messages kept coming, but I had more important things to focus on. The market was opening and I had an empire to run. Ms. Anderson, my PR director called. CNBC is ready for your live interview. I straightened my jacket and faced the camera they'd set up in our office. The red light blinked on and I smiled, not the modest, apologetic smile I'd worn at family gatherings, but the confident smile of a CEO who'd just changed the industry. Ms. Anderson, the interviewer began, you've managed to keep IRS's ownership private until now. Why reveal yourself today? Because success speaks for itself, I replied smoothly. We've built something revolutionary and it's time for the market to know who's behind it. Your background is interesting. You left medical school to open a retail store. Many would see that as stepping down. Was this always the plan? I thought of all the family dinners where they'd questioned that decision. Innovation doesn't always follow the expected path, I said. Sometimes the best view of an industry's future comes from its foundation. Sage and Stone wasn't just a store. It was a laboratory. My phone kept buzzing. Uncle Peter now. My firm has been trying to get a meeting with IRS for months. Why didn't you say anything? I turned it off. They could wait. Because right now, on every financial news channel, in every trading room, and yes, in Uncle Robert's breakfast room, they were all watching me prove them wrong. By noon, my little shop was the talk of Wall Street. IRS stock had surged 40% on the acquisition news, adding another billion to our market cap. My personal net worth, previously hidden through various holding companies, was now public knowledge, splashed across Bloomberg terminals and financial websites. Emily Anderson, the retail revolutionary worth $4.3 billion. I was in my office reviewing integration plans when my assistant interrupted. Ms. Anderson, your family is in the lobby. All of them. Of course they were. How many? I asked, not looking up from my papers. 8. Your mother, sister, both uncles, Blake and some others. They're quite insistent. I checked the time. The market would close in 3 hours and I had a board meeting at 4. Give me 2 minutes, then send them up. I walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows, taking in the view of Manhattan that my office afforded. Behind me, the TV silently played financial news, my face appearing every few minutes alongside headlines about the acquisition. The elevator dinged. Holy shit, I heard Blake whisper as they entered. This is real business. I finished for him, turning around. Please come in. They filed into my office like tourists in a museum, eyes darting from the expensive art to the wall of awards to the multiple screens displaying real-time market data. Emily, my mother started, her voice uncertain. We don't understand. That's been the theme for about 5 years now, hasn't it? I sat down behind my desk, a hand-carved piece that cost more than Blake's Ferrari. Why didn't you tell us? Jessica demanded. All this time you let us think. Let you think what? I cut her off. That I was a failure. That was your assumption, not my deception. Uncle Robert stepped forward, his usual confidence noticeably shaken. But the shop, the small apartment, that old Toyota, were exactly what you expected to see, I said calmly. You never asked about the patents. Never questioned why major retailers suddenly changed their automation systems. Never wondered why your hospital board was so desperate to implement my technology. By God, Uncle Peter breathed. The Metropolitan contract. That was you. I nodded. Along with 50 other major retail and healthcare chains. That little shop you mocked? It was the testing ground for everything we built here. Blake collapsed into one of the guest chairs, looking shell-shocked. Yesterday, when I was talking about the IPO, your firm was trying to get meetings with my company, I finished. I know. We turned them down. Multiple times. But why? My mother asked. Why keep it secret from us? I stood up, walking around to lean against the front of my desk. Because you needed to show me who you really were. All of you. Every dismissive comment, every condescending suggestion, every time you called my work small or insignificant, you showed me exactly why I couldn't trust you with the truth. The silence that followed was deafening. Ms. Anderson, my assistant's voice came through the intercom. The integration team is ready for you, and NASDAQ called about tomorrow's market opening. Thank you, Sarah. I'll be right there. I straightened up, smoothing my jacket. I have a company to run. Several, actually. Emily, wait. Jessica stepped forward. We're family. You can't just. Family. I laughed softly. Yesterday you wouldn't even let me stand next to you in the photos. Now you want to claim me. We were wrong, Uncle Robert said quietly, probably the first time those words had ever left his mouth. Yes, you were. I picked up a folder from my desk. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting. Sarah will show you out. What about Sunday dinners? My mother asked weakly. The family gatherings? I paused at the private elevator doors. I'll still come. But not as the Emily you thought you knew. From now on you get the real me, CO innovator, and yes, still that shopkeeper you loved to mock. And what about my firm? Uncle Peter tried. Now that we know who you are, maybe we could work together? I smiled. Your firm's latest valuation is less than what my company made in profit last quarter. But feel free to submit a proposal through proper channels. Like everyone else. The elevator doors opened. Oh, and Blake. I added. About that simple life comment? Running a multi-billion-dollar company is many things, but simple isn't one of them. Good luck with that partnership position though. I hear middle management can be quite straightforward. As the elevator descended, I could see my reflection in its polished doors. No more hiding. No more diminishing. This was who I'd been all along. They just never bothered to look past their own assumptions. My phone buzzed with a text from my PR team. Forbes cover confirmed. Interview next week. I smiled, thinking of all the family members who proudly displayed their local business magazine features. Wonder how they'd feel about seeing their little shopkeeper on the cover of Forbes? The board meeting went smoothly. We outlined the integration plan for tech retail, approved 3 new acquisitions, and greenlit the expansion into international markets. By the time the market closed, IRS had become the most talked about company in retail tech. That evening, as I sat in my real home, a penthouse overlooking Central Park, I received one last text from my mother. I didn't see you. All these years I didn't really see you. I'm sorry. I looked at the message for a long time before replying. You saw what you wanted to see. But now you'll see exactly who I am. Sunday dinner is at my place this week. I'll send a car. Because sometimes success isn't just about proving others wrong. It's about finally, unapologetically being right. And letting them choke on the reality they never thought possible.